So Srimad Bhagavatam talks about difference between substance and category. Category means different categorization, like X, Y, Z, like that. There are different categories of everything. And then what is the substance? So according to Srimad Bhagavatam, the real substance is Brahman. The real and complete meaning of Brahman means Bhagwan, Krishna, Paramatma, and Brahmajyoti. There are three different aspects. God is to be known as all pervasive, where He's there everywhere. God is there as Paramatma, localized in your heart. And God is there as Bhagwan in the spiritual abode. Categories all the qualities and properties related to the substance. So within Brahman, there could be multiple categories like that. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhashmi sasisuryayo pranava sarva vedeshu sabdake purusham nrisu. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon and the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and ability in man. So essentially saying, I am everything, right? Of course, then you may say, why is Monsanto doing like this? Why are there so many problems in the world? That's because of the demonic mentality of the individual souls. Certain people will become very demonic and they will start cornering everything, right? So right now you cannot get into seeds business because Monsanto has total monopoly. You cannot get into operating systems business because Microsoft has complete monopoly, like that, right? Only a few things are now very firmly established, and take it or leave it. You're stuck. You cannot do anything more. So these are all categories. God is present everywhere. The whole creation is category. The description qualities of Lord, everything we see in this world is related to Krishna. So we have to understand the difference between substance and the various categories. The substance is the original. Categories are all subdivisions within that substance. So in that way, the substance, Krishna, comes as taste of water, light of the sun, the syllable Om in Vedic mantras, and sound in ether, right? Sound needs some medium to go, right? Sound cannot just travel without a medium. So it needs like a metal, which is sound will travel very fast, or at least some light particles like in ether where it travels slow, and ability in man. So essentially Krishna is saying, I am everything in Bhagavad Gita. So science is not always verifiable, whereas scriptures are always verifiable. Whatever scriptures say, you can prove it. Science changes every few years, new theories and new textbooks, right? First they said Earth was flat, then they said Earth is round, then they said atomic theory, then they said molecular theory, then they said there is atomic theory. Within atomic, there is like science and this and that. You are going deeper and deeper, photons and neutrons and things like that. So every few years, science will come up with something new. Whereas scriptures, past, present, and future, they'll always be true. Whatever is said 5,000 years in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's still true. It hasn't changed. And science may eventually come to the correct conclusion. It will take a lot of research to come to the conclusion. And each verse in the scripture is a good conclusion. So things like this, like now here is a verse. Krishna says, as a substance, he is the taste of water. And if you do sufficient research, you will figure that out. Or you can take it on face value and save yourself a lot of that research. So in May 1974, Srila Prabhupada in Australia, I was walking. He's saying, here we see the sun just rising, but it's always there in space. The Bhagavad Gita is like that. It's eternal truth. When sun rises, we don't say, oh, sun is just now coming into existence. It is always there, but we can't see it until it rises. Many used to think that at night the sun died and in the morning a new sun was created. They also used to believe that Earth was flat. This is your scientific knowledge. Every day a new opinion. And the scientific books you are now using will be useless in a few years. This is your science. Yes, therefore we accept Krishna, who does not cheat. And since I'm presenting only what Krishna has said, I am also not a cheater. That is the difference between scientists and us. This is Swami Prabhupada talking. Then prove that chemicals make life. Your belief is that life is made from chemicals. So prove it. Then it is science. But if you cannot prove it, it remains a belief. Like the scientists say, after the Big Bang Theory, some molecules decided to come together and life came. But life always comes from life. Life doesn't come from chemicals. No matter how many chemicals you mix in the lab, you cannot create a new life. Even the whole test tube baby or Dolly, the sheep, they all start from life. You start with some living cells, and then you do some experiment, and then you join their cells together. But you cannot just take some mud and suddenly create life from there, right? You cannot take inanimate matter, which means something that doesn't live, and make it into animate living entities. So he's challenging the scientists from that perspective. Prove it. Everything comes from Virat Rupa, infinite and infinitesimal. So Virat Rupa is the original form that Krishna shows in the Bhagavad Gita. But that Virat Rupa, whether it is very infinitely large objects that come out or infinitesimal, very small things that come out, Virat Rupa is the source for all of those different creations. You cannot create artificially in a lab. So there are 5 things that are mentioned: earth, water, fire, air, ether. These are the 5 gross elements. Gross means something that you can touch and feel. And then there are subtle elements. Subtle means you cannot touch or feel. Mind, intelligence, and false ego. These are the separated energies of the Lord. Krishna says, Bhumi apo nalo vayu kham mano buddhirevacha. Bhumi, earth, apo, water, nalo, fire, vayu, air, kham means ether. Bhumi apo nalo vayu kham mano buddhirevacha. Buddhi means mind. Mano. Mano means mind and buddhi means intelligence. And ahankaram iti yamme. Ahankar means false ego. So Krishna is saying, Binna prakriti ashtada. These are the 8 separated energies of mind. So the Supreme Lord as the substance is dividing into these different categories. Earth is a category in itself. Water is a category in itself. Fire is a category in itself. They're very different, right? Water and fire are very different. Water wets, fire dries. They do exactly the opposite thing, right? Air is neither water nor fire. And ether is none of the above. So they are becoming subtler and subtler. Earth is very gross. You can touch it. Like the case of your laptop where you're watching this class is earth because it comes from ground. Like the plastic casing is also earth. The metal particles is also earth. The silicon chips are also earth. Whereas as you grow to the other end of the spectrum, false ego is very, very subtle. Intelligence a little grosser than that because you can make intelligent decisions. And then mind a little bit more grosser than that. In this way, from space, air, fire, water, earth, this cycle continues. So there is a heat of sun, wind, evaporation from water, heat of electromagnetic waves of sun. So there's a lot. The sun's position in this universe is very, very strong. And Krishna says, Prabhasmi sasi suryayo. I am the light of the sun. Rasoham apsu kaunteya. I am the taste of the water. How do you get the taste of water? It's got very unique taste. Water has very, very unique taste. And if the water has more minerals, it has stronger taste. Less minerals, yeah, less taste. But everything has to come from Krishna ultimately, whether the heat of the sun or taste of the water. So during Mahavishnu's breathing, creation comes out. Big Bang is just one observable explanation. There are millions of other explanations. So people say Big Bang is the only way. Suddenly matter decided to have a Big Bang and then the universe came into being. But actually, according to Brahma Samhita, when Mahavishnu is breathing out, creation begins. When he breathes in, annihilation begins, which nobody talks about. because the previous universes collapsed into the body of Mahavishnu. But now they are again expanding. So black holes and compression during pralaya, right? So when there is a pralaya, then everything gets compressed back into the body of Mahavishnu, right? So the black hole is a thing that even light cannot escape from it. Everything is sucked back in. Light is sucked back in. Even time is sucked back into the body of Vishnu. Actually, time is a physically measurable thing. We may only think of time as something on your clock, right? But no, even time can be compressed. Time can be dilated, expanded. Time can be annihilated, finished, because time is an energy of the Lord. Suppose if there is no time, then we don't grow old, we don't die, but there is time. So time is called Kala Chakra. It's gradually sucking us in. Every day we are dying a little bit, and when there is no more energy left in the body to continue, that is called death. So time is very dangerous actually. Like sometimes people say, what are you doing? I'm doing time pass. Time is not to be passed. Like suppose you lost 1 hour, like right now it is what? 7:28 p.m. EST. What happened to 6:28 p.m. EST? It's gone forever. It will never come back. Even if you give $1 billion, that time will never come back. It's gone forever. Even the richest man cannot buy that 1 hour. That's gone. Right? So time has to be used very, very carefully in the service of the Lord. Otherwise, we'll again, take birth, again suffer, as if the suffering in this time is not adequate. Actually, as Kali Yuga progresses, suffering will increase. So we have to be super careful about how we evaluate time and understand time. So there is something called the fourth dimension, Turiya. So there are different states of consciousness. First, we are in deep sleep. Then we are dreamlike sleep. Then there is when you are awake. So modern scientists have been able to study these three: deep sleep, dreamlike sleep, which is like rapid eye movement, REM sleep, and then when you are awake. But Turiya is a state of super consciousness. So the state of super consciousness, this comes from the expansion of Vaman Dev's leg when he comes as a Vaman Avatara. And you can, very difficult to understand, but if you practice devotional life and meditation and chanting of the mantras especially, you will actually come to the fourth dimension, which is Turiya, which is beyond. It is called super conscious state. So we are conscious right now. When we dream, we are subconscious. And then we are in deep sleep, we are in unconscious or almost unconscious type state. But this Turiya is super conscious state. So there is compression that happens during Pralaya. There is a Naimittika, an occasional annihilation during which original creator, Lord Narayana, lies down in the bed of Ananta and absorbs the entire universe within himself. See, modern science will not even come close to giving this detail. Right? Modern science says, there will be some kind of black hole that will suck away. That's it. They don't have this much detail. When the 2 half times of the lifetime of Lord Brahma are complete, the 7 basic elements of creation are annihilated. Right? So, what is annihilated? Bhumi apo, nalo vayu, kham, mano, buddhi. These 7 items are annihilated. But your false ego is not annihilated. So even at the time of Pralaya, your false ego is not annihilated. And then this is a discussion between Parikshit Maharaj and Sukdev Goswami, his guru. So Parikshit Maharaj is about to die in 7 days. And his guru, Sukdev Goswami, is saying, "O king, upon annihilation of the material elements, the universal egg comprising the elemental amalgamation of creation is confronted with destruction." So I called a few people. I said, I will do some special class. Please come. Nobody came. Because most people are very, very foolish actually in this world. They are only concerned about eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Ahara, nidra, bhaya, and maithunam. Maithunam means sex. So eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. They're only interested in that. But there is a higher knowledge, but most people are not interested because they're very, very foolish actually. Most people, 99.99% of the planet is foolish. So during comparison of Pralaya, at the time, Sukadeva Goswami is telling Maharaj Parikshit, the shell of the universe will fill up with water, forming a single cosmic ocean. As the universe is flooded, the water will rob the earth of its unique quality of fragrance, and the element earth, deprived of its distinguished quality, will be dissolved. So first earth, the gross thing, gets dissolved. The element fire then seizes the taste from element water, which, deprived of its unique quality, taste merges into fire. So if you remember this continuum of these different particles, they get merged into one another. So first earth gets dissolved into this water. And water will lose its distinct taste and quality, merge into fire. Fire will lose its quality, merge into air. Air will lose its quality and merge into space. So this is the reverse of the so-called Big Bang. So everything will go backwards. During Big Bang, everything came forwards in terms of from subtle to gross. This is now gross to subtle. This is called pralaya or annihilation. The element either seizes the quality of air, namely touch, and the air enters into ether. The false ego in the ignorance seizes sound, the quality of ether, after which ether merges into false ego. False ego in the mode of passion takes hold of senses. False ego in the mode of goodness absorbs the devatas. Then total Mahat Tattva seizes false ego along with its various functions, and Mahat is seized by three basic modes of nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So right now, how do we function? Because of these three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Now, everything is like a movie going backwards. So everything is getting collapsed into these other things. So false ego is there in three modes: in goodness, passion, and ignorance. So what's happening now? Ignorance seizes the sound. The quality of sound is finished. Passion takes hold of senses, all of our five indriyas. Sight, taste, smell, touch, they get absorbed. Then total Mahat Tattva seizes false ego along with its various function, and then Mahat is seized by three basic modes of nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. In the unmanifest stage of material nature called Pradhan, there is no expression of words, no mind, and no manifestation of the subtle elements beginning from Mahat, nor are they modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. There is no life air or intelligence, nor any senses or demigods. There is no definite arrangement of planetary systems, nor are there present the different stages of consciousness: sleep, wakefulness, and deep sleep. There is no ether, water, air, earth, air, fire, or sun. The situation is like complete sleep. So basically, universe is going through a sleep. No expression of words, no mind, no manifestation of subtle elements. Because when creation started, slowly these things came about. Your mind came about. Subtle elements started coming out, like mind, intelligence, false ego. But now all these things are rolling back and they're getting sucked in. So this is the annihilation called Prakritika, during which the energies belonging to the Supreme Person and his unmanifest material nature, disassembled by the force of time, are deprived of the potencies and merged together totally. So you have these so many different theories: closed universe, open universe, multiverse, big crunch. Big bang is followed by a big crunch where everything gets collapsed. So this is called Prakritika, which is there in Srimad Bhagavatam 5,000 years ago. All the scientists are now finding stuff right now and speculating. They don't even know how these things are happening. Yashyaikanishvasitakalamathavyalambhya jivanti loma vilaja jagadandanathah Vishnur Mahasaihyasya Kala Vishesho Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So Brahma and the other lords of mundane worlds, appearing from the pores of hairs of Mahavishnu, remain alive as long as the duration of one exhalation of the latter. So when the Lord exhales one time, that is the lifetime of Brahma. When he inhales, all of us will go into the body of Vishnu, including Brahma. What to speak of all the atheists who don't believe in anything. They will also be sucked in. So, I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whose subjective personality Mahavishnu is the portion of a portion. So how do you get out of this compression and decompression cycle? We are continuously getting sucked into his body. Again, we are getting released. So by devotional service, compression of suffering like a Pacific Ocean into that of a calf's hoof print. So when a calf walks in the rainy mud, it forms a hoof print, which is very small, maybe 3 inches wide. So our suffering is like that of a Pacific Ocean. So that can be collapsed into that of a calf's hoof print. Any thoughts? Any comments? Do you want to suffer like Pacific Ocean? We are all suffering actually. We don't realize that. Every moment we are suffering. Suffering through problems caused by our own mind. Suffering due to problems by other minds. And suffering caused by Mother Nature. And we are all suffering due to so many reasons. Some people have money, too little money. Some people have too much money. Some people have bad health. Some people contract bad health. Maybe they get coronavirus or some other virus. Actually, corona is a less dangerous virus. There are more dangerous viruses out there. So we are all suffering, but we refuse to believe that we are suffering, and we can somehow manage. We can do patchwork. All right, like I was showing that Bhakti Vikas Maharaj's Maya video. He said, we put a patchwork here, patchwork there, and somehow think that life is okay. That is called Maya. Somehow we think life is okay. It's not. So that is real science versus junk science. So this is how universes form. They come from body of Mahavishnu according to scriptures. So people, the modern scientists say, suddenly there was a bang. But who is causing the bang? Where is it coming from? It is recorded 5,000 years ago in Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? So these people, the whole Big Bang theory is only 100 years old. But they don't even know who is causing that bang. All they do is take marijuana and get banged out. Right? Foolish fellows. So modern science is foolish. That long way to go. That's why modern science is called junk science. So any comments, questions? Nothing went in or everything went in? Only two answers. When students don't respond means everything was bouncer or everything is fully understood. Which of the two it is?
I think now with what we are seeing, the understanding of corona, just from a scientific perspective, it keeps changing.
Right.
If you follow the news in the last 6 months, so that is another example of how science is not perfect.
Yeah.
Our understanding and improves, and it hopefully will get better, but it is not. It's never perfect.
Yes, that is correct. They could not still point out why some people get it, why other people don't get it, why it mutates in some parts of the world and why it doesn't mutate in the other parts of the world. Yeah, they have no answer actually. MIT sent out, like I subscribed to MIT's newsletter 2 days ago. They said science failed us during Corona because nobody can explain what's going on. It's a big confusion. So actually coronavirus is the Lord's weapon. That is just to discipline rebellious souls. And this is not the end, right? It will be something else. Every 7 to 10 years, there is something to discipline the souls, and people still don't come to their senses, and they'll continue to suffer. Right? And but the foolish people don't even know that they are suffering. They'll think that this is natural life. No, this is not natural life. This is because of our rebellious nature. Okay, let's move to false ego. Okay, repeat after me. Prakrite kriyamanani
Prakriti manani
gunay karmani sarvasaha
gunai
गुणे
karmani
कर्माणि
sarvasaha
सर्वशः
ahankara vimudatma
ahankara
अहङ्कार
vimudatma
विमूढात्मा
kartaham iti manyate.
kartaham iti
कर्ताहमिति
manyate.
मन्यते.
The spirit soul, bewildered by influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by three modes of material nature. So we think we are doing everything, but the three modes of material nature. Remember, three modes of material nature were discussed in this real science deck, where we talk about what? The three modes of material nature are also annihilated in the end. Then the total Mahat Tattva seizes false ego along with its various functions, and Mahat is seized by the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So this whole Mahat Tattva, the cause of creation, is also sucked into these three energies. One is energy of goodness, one is energy of passion, and one the energy of ignorance. So it's an all interplay of these energies. And there are three predominating deities for these energies. Goodness is Vishnu. Passion is, goodness is Vishnu. Passion is creation, Brahma. And ignorance is destruction, Shiva. It's not like these people are in ignorance. No. Shiva is never in ignorance, but Shiva is the deity of ignorance. So he will release that ignorance energy to destroy everything at the end of time. End of time as in end of that pralaya. Again time starts. Time is also a cyclical thing, Kala Chakra. Again it will start from scratch. So it's very difficult for us to understand that. We think time means it just goes only one way. So after 10:30, it's 10:31, 10:32. But after end of time for this pralaya, again it starts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like that. So these three modes of material nature is what is running the show. We are not running the show. We think we are. Either we can cooperate with God in the show, or we can be against God in that show. Most people are against right now. And they'll be punished nicely. Right? So now both parties were punished in George Floyd's case. George Floyd is dead and the policeman is in jail. Both parties are punished when they don't cooperate with the Lord. And then a lot of people are burning stores and looting stores and protesting. Are they right or wrong? Who is to say? They are just working under the three modes of material nature. So if they don't cooperate with the Lord, which is what they are doing right now, cooperating with the Lord means accepting Lord's decisions on this planet and then surrendering to Him. And if they want to rebel, they'll get more punishment. More and more and more. Now, corona cases have gone up in Alabama, Texas, Florida. More punishment. And they'll say, oh, what did I do? I'm such a good boy or a good girl. I have not done any bad thing in my life. Yeah, but you're not cooperating with God. If you're not, punishment is guaranteed. Or else there'll be, like Chandar was saying, one of his friend's apartment, the roof flew away. Like there was this, windstorm that came and it pulled out the roof. This happened 2 weeks ago, Chandar was saying. So anything can happen. These are all punishments waiting to happen. And there'll be more actually. As Kali Yuga progresses, more and more intense punishments will happen. Like California, only this year they have water. Last 3 years they were in drought. Means no water to grow vegetables also. So tough situation. So we have this hierarchy of human consciousness: soul, mind, intelligence, false ego. We have working sensors, information receiving sensors, gross body, and then finally the clothes and body armor we put on the top. So just like the clothes are covering the body, similarly, you have these different layers that are covering the soul, right? So we are the soul. If we don't think we are the soul and we don't come to that conclusion and serve God in that capacity, then trouble is waiting for us, guaranteed. No other option. So we have to quickly finish our business in this material world, all these nonsense things that we do, and come to the point of serving Krishna. So listening to a Bhagavad Gita class is also serving Krishna, but you are only doing that for 1.5 hour every week. It should be 18/7. When you sleep, you cannot do anything. 6 hours every day is recommended sleep minimum. But remaining 18 hours, whatever you do it for me, Krishna says. Yat karoshi yad yajnasi, yad jujoshi jahasi yat, yat tapasvisi kaunteya, Madarpanam. I forget the word one there in the last line. Madarpanam. Everything should be offered to me. Everything is coming from me. And then whatever you are doing, you can do. But everything should be offered back to me. Otherwise, it is a cause of bondage. Means we'll again take birth. So what does offering everything to me means? It doesn't mean that you should stop eating. It doesn't mean that you should go for a walk. It doesn't mean that you cannot go to drive to buy things in a grocery store. No. What it means is when you see something in the grocery store, oh, what if I offered this flower to Krishna? What if I bought this rice and, urad dal and cook nicely for Krishna and offer it to him? Everything should be in connection to Krishna, not independent of Krishna. It's not like you should starve to death or anything like that. No. Some yogis do that. They say, everything is so dangerous, so I'll give up everything. But then it's so tough. You give up everything. Like, some people say, oh, soap is bad, so I'll give up soap. Toothpaste is bad, it's made by industrial process, so I'll give up toothpaste. So then you practically become like a rock, very difficult to live. So that is not the idea here. The idea is everything you do it for Krishna. You brushing your teeth, you say, I'll brush my teeth so that when I sing for the Lord, my mouth doesn't stink. So that's the reason for my brushing teeth. I'm eating so that I can maintain my body, so that I can chant Hare Krishna, the glory of God. So everything has to have, but it is to be limited also. It cannot be too much, right? So what is too much? For Bill Gates, maybe spending $1 million a year is basic living, simple living. But for somebody, spending $10 a day could be simple living, depending upon what their sphere of activities is. But in general, the recommendation is to minimize the sphere of activities. Right? So it's not like you can become a rock. That is one extreme, giving up everything. On the other end, like the video I showed you, right? Fast fashion. One Italian was saying that people in Italy, they buy, for every weekend party, they buy a new t-shirt. But then you end up with 52 t-shirts every year. So then you have to throw some of them, right? You have to throw at least 50% of them, which means you're throwing them away after wearing them for 4 or 5 times in that week. Done. So that causes so much pollution and all the pains that we showed up in, not only pollution, when you produce cotton, you have to put in so many pesticides and this and that, that's causing birth defects. The mother is waiting for the son to die. So much problem comes from our overconsumption, actually, our foolish living on this planet. You may not see it because you are going to Walmart and buying, but somewhere in the supply chain, somebody is suffering. So, and you are responsible for that karma. You cannot say, well, that's not my business, that is Walmart's business. No, if you don't buy it, they won't produce it. So by buying even a t-shirt, you're causing ugra karma, means bad karma that you will suffer for. So that doesn't mean that you'll become a Naga Baba and walk naked. No, you still have to wear a t-shirt and a pant. So you minimize, right? Minimize your impact on the supply chain. Minimize your impact on the planet. which is what the modern environmentalists are also saying. But they don't think in terms of God or anything. They're just thinking very myopically. But that's essentially what it is. If you minimize, then the planet will last longer. You will be more happy. By more, what does the professor say? Knox College. People are buying more and more, and they are getting more and more depressed as they are buying more. Right? More is not good. Less is more. Okay, Sheshdev, please read.
The false ego, Bhagavad Gita chapter 7.5 purport. The Supreme Lord Krishna is the only controller, and all living entities are controlled by him. These living these living entities are his superior energy because the quality of their existence is one and the same with the Supreme, but they are never equal to the Lord in quantity of power. While exploiting the gross and subtle inferior energy, matter, the superior energy, the living entity, forgets his real spiritual mind and intelligence. This forgetfulness is due to the influence of matter upon the living entity. But when the living entity becomes free from the influence of the illusory material energy, he attains the stage called mukti or liberation.
Yeah. So, what is your understanding? Can you explain to the class?
Uh, when when we were in the spiritual world, or when we came down from the spiritual world, we were not impacted by material nature. But once we get contaminated by the modes of material nature, we lose our intelligence and we associate ourself with matter more than our original self. And the once the living entity becomes free from this false illusion, that stage is called mukti or liberation.
Okay. But what are we doing to gross and subtle energy?
We are exploiting the gross and subtle energy. I
What
mean,
does
we are exploiting.
what does it mean?
We are using the material energy for our enjoyment rather than Krishna's pleasure.
Yeah. Actually, we are using the material energy for our enjoyment. That is the biggest problem. Rather than Krishna's pleasure, that will come much later, right? But first, people have
Right.
to understand that we are exploiting for our enjoyment. Now, what steps can you take to cut down on that exploitation?
Uh, First, have to see, what is it that we actually need, and rather than what is it that we want.
Okay. So, and how do you do that?
Basic thing is, I mean, from what we try to do every day is this helping us associate with Krishna, or is it taking us away from Krishna? Is it helping us in our devotional service, or is it not? If it is yes, then do it. If it is not, don't. And if we are in limbo, then don't.
Mhm. So, helping us or not in service to Krishna. What else? There's one more important point I said, you missed it.
Doing like this, I could name
Huh? What was that, Chandar?
list like you were talking about clothing and other things go based on the needs, buy based on what's required.
Yeah, there's a lot of static on your line. Maybe you can
Can you
type
hear me?
type it in the chat window. Chat window.
Can you hear me better now? Oh,
No, but type it in the chat window. Minimalist. Yeah, that's correct. Being a minimalist. That's what we should do. Just because Amazon gives you 150K every year doesn't mean that you are going to spend all it on yourself. You are receiving a lot of money because of your past karma. Now you have to use it in Krishna service. Means buy Bhagavad Gitas, distribute to others, build temples. More importantly, teach other people this knowledge, right? Sometimes you may have a temple, but nobody is teaching there. That's useless. So this knowledge has to be taught to the others. Then they will understand their relationship with the world and relationship with the Supreme. And there'll be atheists who will say, we don't believe in God. Yeah, that means that they choose not to believe in God. Doesn't mean God doesn't exist. It's a choice, right? It's a choice to not believe in God. Okay, Venkatesh, please read this.
The false ego. Bhagavad Gita 7.5 purport. The false ego, under the influence of material illusion, thinks, I am matter and material acquisitions are mine. His actual position is realized when he is liberated from all material ideas, including the conception of his becoming one in all respects with God. Therefore, one may conclude that the Gita confirms the living entity to be only one of multi-energies of Krishna. And when this energy is free from material contamination, it becomes fully Krishna consciousness or liberated.
So can you explain to the class what this means?
So we are always under this illusion that these are acquiring material possessions and they are mine. But once we realize that when we after we end our life, all these things are gone, and that is when we attain Krishna consciousness.
Okay, very good.
If we follow the Gita and if we follow the teachings of Gita.
Right. So I can send you these decks and you can teach somebody in Alabama also. You can have in the local time zone and you can start a class. And same thing with Chandar. You can start a class teaching all these things to people in your time zone, right? So this way we can teach people something of value. Like, internet is teaching so many things of material value, but rarely does it teach anything of spiritual value. Although Bhagavad Gita is there on the internet too. I mean, you could use that too. And YouTube also is a very great place to teach people these values. There's so many videos. I'll show you one of the video. In Ukraine, right now there are 10,000 devotees in Ukraine who are practicing in a very happy manner.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hi Krishna and welcome to Ukraine, a very beautiful country in Eastern Europe. The population here, I believe, is 48 million people. And Krishna consciousness, a Krishna conscious movement has been present in this country since the early 1980s. At that time, the country was communist, so we were suppressed and restricted specifically by the secret services, the KGB. But when democracy arrived in the early 1990s, Krishna consciousness began flourishing. That's evident by the fact that at the present moment there's over 10,000 devotees here in Ukraine. Again, I would say this is due to the pious nature of the people of Ukraine. I've traveled the world. I've been most major countries in the world, but I find this a special place, actually, kind of like a little oasis in Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. People are special here. They're attracted to Krishna consciousness, and therefore many people join, and there's a large congregation as well. Not only due to the pious nature of the people, but also good management. The GBC is His Holiness Niranjan Swami, and the regional secretary is Achyuta Priya. I can't glorify them enough. When Srila Prabhupada was departing, he turned to his disciple, my godbrother Giriraj Swami, and he said, "How will the movement go on in my absence?" And Giriraj Maharaj gave a very nice answer. He said, "Srila Prabhupada will stick to your instructions. We'll follow the regulative principles, we'll chant our 16 rounds, we'll serve in the association of devotees." And Prabhupada said yes, but then he said something very interesting. He said, by organization and by intelligence. So that we find in Niranjan Swami and Achyuta Priya, they've organized the yatra very well. Not only have many devotees been made here, but they've been well taken care of. I think the term is sometimes used to boil the milk. And they have a very wonderful mentor system. Every devotee here has a senior devotee who's guiding them in their spiritual lives. So again, it's an exciting place to visit. Nothing speaks louder than success.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So this person in the middle is a former US Army man. He's like 6'6" tall. I have met him when he came to the Seattle temple. And he preaches mainly in Poland, Ukraine, and Russia. Very, very powerful preacher. Very strict also, based like a US Army man. And he preaches, he's traveled, as you said, right? He traveled around the world, and he found the Ukrainians to be particularly very interesting in terms of how they like it. Now let's go to Poland.
We've
And,
got our big end of quarter deadline coming up at the end of this month.
Вот сейчас мы шьем одежды для Шиширадхи Кришны.
Поэтому наших студентов. Он сказал, да, конечно, мы можем обучить. И Шрила Прабхупада хотел, чтобы его ученики обучились системе Панчаратхи и совершали это в соответствии. Мы хотим, чтобы каждый преданный нашей общины, для него
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
My name is Scott Harrison. Just listen. This is my wife.
So we have like that. We can see so many interesting things that are happening in Europe. Like I also traveled to Ukraine, Croatia, Slovenia, along with my spiritual master, and a lot of interesting things happening there. So we have to, let's see what this is. Srila Prabhupada comes to us. This is an interesting little video.
For a dedicated follower of the Vaishnava religious tradition, Vrindavan, India is the most sacred place on earth. In 1965, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada left the holy city of Vrindavan to deliver the message of Krishna consciousness to the Western countries. At the request of his spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada gave up his peaceful and contemplative life there in order to preach the most profound wisdom of ancient India to the rest of the world. No one could have imagined that in a few short years, Srila Prabhupada would have created a revolution in spiritual consciousness and become the Acharya, the spiritual teacher to so many people. He had founded the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, a worldwide confederation of over 100 ashrams, schools, temples, and farm communities, and had made the chanting of Hare Krishna familiar to millions of people. and he had written and published over 80 volumes of translation and commentary on self-realization, which are now standard in universities and libraries around the world. Srila Prabhupada circled the globe 11 times between 1966 and 1977, and he met countless political, social, and religious leaders in scores of countries on every continent. He would speak at great length, and often with considerable intensity on various subjects. During these discourses, Srila Prabhupada would turn the profound Vedic philosophy into a practical cutting edge that penetrated every sphere of life and thought. Srila Prabhupada taught that there can be no real peace or brotherhood in human society as long as we are murdering our brothers, the animals. Nature's laws of karma, action and reaction, ensure that violence is repaid with violence. In other words, as you sow, so shall you reap. Srila Prabhupada's views were always persuasive because they rested on systematic logic and sound philosophy. He once said, "Philosophy without religion is mental speculation, and religion without philosophy is sentimentality."
By example, it is necessary pour la nourriture, for the food of man, to eat. Man can eat grains, good grains, fruits, milk, sugar, wheat. Not the chair, but not flesh. Not flesh. No. Why? Just like the fruits. The fruits are meant for human beings. The tiger does not come to eat your fruits. Yes. So tiger's food is another animal. Man's food is fruit. Yes, sir. Yes. Milk products. That's right. It is why people whose grain and plants are also filled. That we also understand. Yes, sir. But if you can live just like generally, if I can live on fruits and grains and milk, why should I kill another animal? Yes.
Right? So that's Prabhupada's statement. If I can live on fruits, grains, and milk, why should I live on another animal? And therefore, vegetarianism is not a sentiment. It is necessary for spiritual progress. Otherwise, it's a waste of human life. If we eat other animals, and then that will actually ruin our spiritual progress, right? Okay, let's come back to the false ego. Okay, Chanda, read this, please.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me well now?
Yes, I can.
Oh, VG 15.5 words and purport. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who unbewildered know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. The surrendering process is described here very nicely. The first qualification is that one should not be deluded by pride. Because the conditioned soul is puffed up, thinking himself the lord of material nature, it is very difficult for him to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should know by the cultivation of real knowledge that he is not Lord of material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Lord.
So what is your understanding? Explain to the class.
So in this one, it's describing about the surrendering process. So to meet the first qualification, you should get away by the pride and from the material nature.
It's not like you are getting away from material nature. You are getting away from the conception of lording over material nature. Whatever we see, we want to be the lord, right? Like Shell Oil Corporation wants to be the lord of oil. You know, Minnesota Mining and Materials, Triple M, they want to lord over all these mines to get various things from under the ground, right? Google wants to be the lord of search and artificial intelligence. So we have this tendency to lord over anything that you see, you want to dominate it, right? That's why you want to own it. You want to own cars, houses, this, that. But this puffed up condition is anti-surrender, right? Surrender to the Lord. So one should know by cultivation of real knowledge. That's what we are trying to do through this course, to understand who we are, what is our relationship with nature, what is our relationship with Lord, and get away from that puffed up concept. Puffed up means you are like very proud. I am everything. I run the show. And people who said I run the show are being given a lesson, including our illustrious President Trump. He said that we can do anything. And then comes Corona and we are helpless, right? America has the world's best Navy, Air Force, and Army. Can they stop Corona?
No.
No, we cannot, right? We can be puffed up, but nature will find, Krishna will find some other intelligent way to diffuse your bubble, right? We are all puffed up like a balloon. Now he will just get a small pin and all the hawa nikal gaya, all the air comes out. Right? But then there are some qualifications, right? Free from false prestige. If somebody praises you, you should not get puffed up. They're just praising you, your current accomplishment. Tomorrow you could be a failure, right? Clint Eastwood recently sold his mansion. He's a movie star. Now he's living like you and me in a small house. Yeah. So what happened? In one lifetime, he went from zero to something and from something back to zero. Illusion and false association with matter. Who understand the eternal. And eternal means who understand the Supreme Lord and the eternality of Him. Who are done with material lust. Material lust means more, more, more. This is especially true of people living in America. We want more of everything. Like here, people eat like a big plate of meat when they go to restaurants. I saw in Europe, people eat very little actually. When you go to a restaurant, the portions are 1/4 of what they give in America. Very little. In other parts of the world also, people are used to eating very less. So we are very lusty in America. We want more, more, more. And who are freed from dualities of happiness and distress. So duality means two sides of the same coin. One side is happiness, the other side is distress. One side there is honor, the other side is dishonor. Wealth and poverty. So whether we are wealthy or poverty, we should remain the same. Honor or dishonor, we should remain the same, which is not easy. Very difficult. And then who know how to surrender to Supreme Person, attain that eternal kingdom, means going back to the spiritual world. But there's so many things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 qualities Krishna lists before you can get liberated. So if you cannot do even one, then how will you do all 8? So it's a lifelong process. You have to start somewhere, like you are starting right now. But don't think that you already are experts at this stuff. To meet these 8 things that Krishna says, it's not one lifetime process, it's many lifetimes process. So last lifetime, you must have done something that you are the good karma of attending this class. So many people I called today, nobody came up because they are not ready yet. Krishna is saying, you rascal, you wait here for some more time. You stay in this material world. But you people have some background from your past life, so you are continuing your journey. But if you don't do it fully in this lifetime, again you will take birth. So Prabhupada used to say, finish it off in one lifetime. Finish it off. Right? Because if not, what happens? Again you have to take birth. Birth means birth, diapers, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, H1, green card, citizenship. So much nonsense you have to go through again next lifetime. So finish it off in this lifetime. Because Krishna is already giving the techniques, right? It's not like he's just leaving you up to your own karma. No, he's giving you the techniques. How to get to him. He's giving in 15.5. This is an advanced topic, 15.5. Normally in chapter 3, he taught us karma, but this is more advanced. Who else is there? Okay, Karthik, read this.
Introduction, page 12. So when we are materially contaminated, we are called conditioned. False consciousness is exhibited under the impression that I am a product of material nature. This is called false ego. One who is observed in the thought of bodily conceptions cannot understand his situation. Bhagavad Gita was spoken to liberate one from the bodily conception of life, and Arjuna put himself in this position in order to receive this information from the Lord. One must become free from the bodily conception of life, that is preliminary activity for the transcendentalist. One who wants to become free, who wants to become liberated, must first of all learn that he is not this material body. Mukti or liberation means freedom from material consciousness. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, also the definition of liberation is given.
Okay, explain to the class now.
So in this verse, they are mainly talking about the false ego and how we falsely understand that we are the material body, and as long as we understand that we are the material body, we cannot be liberated. And so in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna put himself in this position to understand the information from the Lord. So to become free, we need to transcend, and we need to first understand that we are not the body, and by that way we can transcend ourselves to be liberated.
Okay, good. Is Gayatri also there next to you?
Yeah, she's here.
Okay, Gayatri, read.
Muktir hitavanyata rupam swarupena vyavastitihi. Mukti means liberation from the contaminated consciousness of this material world and situation in pure consciousness. All the instructions of Bhagavad Gita are intended to awaken the pure consciousness. And therefore, we find in the last page of Gita's instruction that Krishna is asking Arjuna whether he is now in purified consciousness.
Yeah. So what is, can you explain?
So, mukti means like we have to get rid of all our material world desires and get into Krishna consciousness. And when we get into Krishna consciousness, we feel that there is no relationship to anyone, to any of us in this physical world. It is just the Krishna. We have the soul relationship. And when we come to this thinking, automatically we get into a purified consciousness.
Can you explain the diagram?
So gross body, earth, water, fire, ether. Subtle body is mind, intelligence, false ego. Soul is eternity, knowledge, bliss. The soul is covered by gross and subtle coverings.
So how do you get rid of these coverings?
By chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and always being in the consciousness of Sri Krishna.
Okay, very good. So Sheshdev, is Mataji around?
No, Prabhuji, she's on another call.
Okay. Is she office work today also?
No, not office work. This some with Dallas Matajis. They have some Zoom play or something. It's for the other kids Madhava group.
Okay, good. Is your daughter around, Sahana?
Yeah, I can call her. 1 second.
Ask her to read this.
Purified consciousness means acting in accordance with the instructions of the Lord. This is the whole sum and substance of purified consciousness. Consciousness is already there because we are part and parcel of the Lord. But for us, there is the affinity for being affected by the inferior modes. But the Lord, being the supreme, is never affected. That is the difference between the Supreme Lord and the small individual souls.
So what does it mean, Sahana? Can you explain?
The Supreme Lord, it's the difference between the Supreme Lord and the small individual souls is that but the Lord is never affected
Very good.
by the inferior modes.
Okay.
And we are.
So what does purified consciousness mean from the first paragraph?
Krishna consciousness.
No. Read that. What does purified consciousness mean?
Acting in accordance with the instructions of the Lord.
Very good. Which grade are you in?
I'm in 4th. I'm going to 4th.
You are much smarter than a 10th grade student. you could already tell me what the answer is. Very good. Yeah, so Chandar, you should bring your kids along, and who has kids, they should bring their kids along too, just like Sahana is learning. This is very beneficial to people. Okay, we'll stop there for today and we'll chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Any questions?